Good afternoon, fellow OFARians and guests. The Palomar College OFAR team members for Year 5 are Brandon Reynolds, Dr. Naomi Ramirez, Nicole Au, and Dan Balajek. Without further ado, we are excited to share with you all the work we have engaged in over the past academic year. Collectively, we have implemented anti-racist changes to our curricula that center the student voices, identities, and learning experiences. We focused on incorporating both collective and individualized ways of knowing, while also engaging students through reflexive activities that promote growth, empowerment, and empathy. The team committed to confronting both explicit and implicit bias while broadening the voice of our course content and decentering the dominant white male perspective. We worked to maximize no-cost and open educational resource materials, diversify assessments, and decolonize our syllabi and learning spaces. We will now review some highlights from each team member's action plan.
Hello, OFARians. My name is Brandon Reynolds with the Palomar College English Department. My English 149 class was framed around open educational resources and monsters. Now, I framed my course using this quote from Jeffrey Jerome Cohen here that basically ties monsters to cultural and social anxieties. As a result, my project is an open source wiki with monster-themed stories chosen by students based on the representation discussion of the OFAR whales of privilege. Our goal was to highlight traditionally marginalized or underrepresented voices in fiction, along with their own experiences and issues that they deal with through a legacy assignment that promotes student agency in course creation by generating our actual course reading list throughout the semester. So here's a snapshot of what it looks like. This is the front page. You can see the different diverse authors we have here, along with a sample entries with our students' first names and the author's homepage and a link to a free open source monster story that they felt best represented them to cut down on textbook costs. This assignment will continuously be updated throughout coming semesters in an effort to again, eliminate or at least cut down on costs for students and keeping the open source and open educational philosophies going from here on out. Thank you.
So in thinking about how I apply anti-racism in my Chicano history class, I intentionally center anti-racism not just in content, but through how students engage with the material. Therefore, emotionally, critically, and reflectively is how I think about it. One of the most impactful tools I use is role-playing as well. These activities allow students to embody the historical and systemic forces we study and to think through the ethics of real events from multiple perspectives. One powerful example was a mock court proceeding where students investigated the causes of culpability behind migrant deaths at the U.S.-Mexico border. So we had different groups represent the Mexican government, the U.S. government, U.S. policymakers, Border Patrol, and human rights activists. And they had to prepare arguments using historical documents, policies like Operation Gatekeeper, and current data in order to form their argument. So the goal wasn't just to debate, but to uncover how structural racism, state violence, and economic interest intersect in shaping migration. And we followed this with reflective writing, where students could step out of character and express how their views evolved, what surprised them, and how this history still echoes in our present.
Hi, my name is Nicole Au, and I teach in Child Development and Education Department. In my course, I have worked intentionally to implement anti-racism concepts and culturally responsive practices throughout the curriculum. I incorporated and introduced a variety of perspectives and materials, such as literature written by diverse authors and case studies featuring real-life experiences in early learning environments. These resources help students critically analyze systematic prejudice and understand how early childhood educators can promote equity and inclusion from the very start of a child's educational journey. One of the key activities I introduced was a reflection assignment where students analyzed how their own identities shape their teaching perspectives. This created a space for deep, thoughtful conversations about bias, privilege, and how we can respond to injustice through our daily teaching practices. While these conversations can be challenging, I've learned that the importance of intentional guiding discussions in a way to make everyone feel supported and open so that all students feel safe engaging with sensitive topics. books. In addition to classroom work, I also introduced a storytime observation in either a preschool setting or a local library. As students observed, they paid close attention to cultural relevance of the books being read and the interactions between adults and children. These experiences reminded me that culture and anti-racism should not be only treated as a one-time lesson, but as an ongoing integrated parts of how we teach and interact with young children. Moving forward, I plan to refine my teaching techniques by incorporating more interactive exercises like role-playing, storytelling, and classroom simulations, which we did all this semester.
During the OFAR program, I took intentional steps to integrate anti-racist teaching practices and open educational resources into the courseware for Military Leadership 198, the Sound Decision Maker. This course is part of a work experience apprenticeship program delivered via distance education. As a joint educational partnership with the United States Marine Corps, the integration of anti-racist and open pedagogy into the course presented unique challenges and opportunities. Leadership studies, particularly within the military, has long been dominated by the perspectives of Western white male leaders and academics. I made a deliberate effort to incorporate readings on bias in decision-making written by collaborative teams of researchers and practitioners from historically underrepresented and marginalized groups, and included this as core material alongside more traditional ones regarding the impact of bias on organizations and operations, both military and civilian. One structural change I made was rethinking the application of a traditional grading philosophy. I chose to significantly reduce the impact of punitive point deductions for late submissions and instead emphasize communication, reflection, and critical thinking. This shift better aligns with both the realities of military life and challenges normative academic practices that disproportionately impact students from non-traditional backgrounds. I also incorporated an enhanced land acknowledgement featuring Indigenous-produced media into my Canvas syllabus and adapted the syllabus quiz to foster deeper engagement with this content. This experience reaffirmed my commitment to facilitating leadership education that challenges norms and prepares students to lead with awareness, compassion, and purpose. At Palomar College, we remain committed to continuing our anti-racist work with a strong focus on action. We look forward to continuing our Fall Flex Week DEIAA speaker series with this year's focus on accessibility. We will also be offering a pedagogy and practice professional development workshop designed to equip faculty with tools to create inclusive classrooms. Through our Black Student Success Team, Palomar College continues to strengthen its commitment to providing holistic support and collaboration with faculty and staff to remove barriers to the success for Black students. In keeping with California Community College Title V, the Palomar College Curriculum Committee has begun working to require DEIAA opportunities enhancements to be expressly denoted within the course outline of record. And finally, we are actively recruiting our representative teams to apply for OFAR Year 6. At Palomar, we're focused on creating lasting, meaningful change in our institution and for our community. Thank you for your time and your attention.